What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I am, of course, your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. Watching my back, as always, you know him, you love him, the Freddie Mercury puppet. We're back with another incredible episode. It's what we do, kids, and we ain't about to change it now. Like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Before we get down to it, as I do every episode, I'll address the proverbial elephant in the room. You, of course, are looking at the smoldering good looks, the luscious blonde locks. The answer to your question that you're thinking right now, going to play mind reader here. The answer is yes. You are looking at the one and only love child of one Diamond David Lee Roth. These days, the way Dave is catching flack and repping himself, I don't know if that's worthy of bragging about, but now it's on the table, folks, and we can get down to brass tacks, which, as I said, is another incredible episode. Before we get to it, I'll give you the obligatory promotional spiel because you guys know my philosophy. If you have a podcast, you got to pimp it. The pimp hand is feeling good today, feeling strong. So let's give it a go. Make sure to tap into Pod Scum on Facebook. Our page is Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. Don't be confused. I got two shows for you pugilism fans. We got you covered with Off the Couch Boxing. For you rock and metal maniacs, we got you covered here on Pod Scum. You can get information on both of those shows on that Facebook page. Again, the handle Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. Lo and behold, I've dumbed it down for you guys and especially for me. Same handle on Instagram, Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. And of course, if you're watching us here right now, this is the place where you really need to be. Instagram, phenomenal platform. Put lots of reels up there. Facebook, lots of promoting of the episodes, plus lots of other fun stuff. If it's newsworthy or noteworthy in either world, boxing or music, I put it up there. But this is where you really need to be if you want to watch and listen to the whole episodes. Like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell to stay tapped in with us here. My guest is already here, so let's get down to it and chop it up. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's go. Just got to get his camera up there. Do I got you, Ronnie? We will get him, folks. We will get him. Can you see me or hear me? There you are. How are you, sir? You just got to get your microphone up, bottom of the screen. Should be a microphone icon down there.
There it is.
There it is.
Check one.
Check one, check one. Can hear you perfectly. Nice to have you on here. Thank you for doing this. There you go. Get into rock star mode. I like it. I like it. I like it. Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it. I go by the nickname Reckless Rex. You are Nasty Ronnie. So I think already we're off to a great start.
Hell yeah, brother.
I like it. So usually, Ronnie, and I got a lot of shit I want to talk to you about, man, but usually when I start these things, I like to go back to the beginning because a common theme with artists or people that get into the creative arts is that they often come up in very artistically, where it's fostered in the homes. Lots of records playing, parents into music. Was that the case for you?
Actually, my sister, my brother and sister were like 8 and 9 years older than me. So I remember the Beatles a lot in the 60s. I was born in 61, and I just remember the Beatles and that kind of music that inspired me maybe in the early days.
Okay. And so is there anybody that you would say, when you go on to become a vocalist, is there anybody that you would say that you used to watch or idolize or maybe poach some moves from? Anybody that inspired you the most?
Well, I mean, I think I always had a kind of performing blood in me. And when I was in 4th grade, my teacher came in. This was in New York before I moved to Florida. They said, we're going to watch a movie today, and it's called West Side Story. And I'm like, cool, let's watch this. So it was a musical, Bernstein music, downtown, that music is, and then the dancing involved and the gangs and the fighting. Little did I know it was really Romeo and Juliet in the 60s.
Sure.
But I just love the interaction of the dance and the violence and the storyline. And growing up, I'd go to my parents' parties and stuff. My mom was Spanish and my dad was Italian, but they break out guitars and start playing and they go, "Hey Ron, go do West Side Story." And I would sing those songs, you know. So
Yeah.
I always like that performance angle and the beat and the music just. And then as I grew older, you know, Elvis Presley, The Doors, you know, and just music that hit me as a kid growing up. You know, even the Beach Boys, stuff like that. My brother was into the Beach Boys and the Beatles, and you know, I still like classic music, Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So, with that being said, what was your foray into the more extreme stuff? Was there a specific album or an artist or a song that got its hooks in you and had you explore the heavier side of music?
Yeah, believe it or not, I kind of missed the whole Kiss thing growing up. I wasn't really into rock or nothing, man, until high school. And then I got into, believe it or not, Leonard Skinner. You know, Ronnie Van Zant, you know, was a big inspiration on me because he was Florida, you know, up there from Jacksonville, and they just created this original sound, and it was Southern rock. But then AC/DC, Bon Scott was another big inspiration of me, and then even people like Bob Marley, and you know, that was kind of, I just liked iconic figures who made shit happen, and you know, that it got in my head. And then of course it was Judas Priest, Scorpions, and then into the early 80s it was the new wave of British heavy metal. I just started getting into metal and learning all about the British bands, Maiden, you know, Priest. I always been into that. And early Scorpions, I love or Lonesome Crow album. Scorpions, one of my favorites still.
Yep.
You know, their first album. And the new wave British heavy metal. And then all of a sudden Venom came out. I was like, whoa, there's no rules, man.
Yeah.
And that's how we started Nasty Savage. I had an opportunity to get in a band, and I tried out for this band, and I sang a couple of Iron Maiden songs, and I never heard back from the guys. So I was like, damn, I guess I'm not going to be a singer. Then I saw them at a keg party, and I said, hey, man, do you guys want me to be your singer or not? And they said, yeah. I go, well, I'll be over Monday with a game plan. So I came in Monday. I said, everybody out of the house except the band, sit down. The name of the band is Nasty Savage, and I'm Nasty Ronnie, the wildest singer ever. We're going to put our money together, and we're going to create a demo tape called Wage of Mayhem. And this was 1981 or so. And, you know, there was no cell phones, no Instagram, definitely no internet. And I said, within 1 year, we're gonna get this demo. Within 1 year, we're gonna be signed, getting fan mail, and we're gonna be touring, playing other than Tampa. And all that happened, you know, because it was just marketing and promotion. And you know, we had a dream, man, and we ended up getting signed to Metal Blade Records on Metal Massacre, and then had our own album after that.
All of that whole journey is absolutely amazing. And for young musicians on here, it obviously is a different time nowadays. That whole story is absolutely incredible. You know how you spoke it, and you know, almost from your mouth to God's ears. But how far in advance did you have this quote unquote game plan? You walk in there, Wage of Mayhem, the Nasty Ronnie persona. How long had this been conjuring up in your mind?
About a day after they told me they still wanted me to be their singer, I just came up. I always liked the name Savage, and I'm thinking, what kind of name? And I came up with Nasty Savage, Nasty Ronnie. So, you know, it was just like, if I'm going to get involved with something, I'm going to give it 110. And I really wasn't a singer. I just played one on stage, you know, and I still say that, but it's kind of a joke. But you know, I wanted to get with guys that are serious. They're not in it to party. And I'm telling you, the guys that are listening to this right now, get out of your hometown. Figure out that you could draw people in your hometown, that you could pack a club and show the promoter that, man, these dudes really bring in business.
Right.
It's about business and economics. Yeah. And you got to understand business, but you also got to understand marketing. Not everybody's a marketer or a salesman, but I was. So I'm a natural born salesman. And to do that, but you have to have a good product so there's no smoke and mirrors. So whenever we had the opportunity to play, which Savatage was around at the time, they were called Avatar, and they were kind of an inspiration to us. And they started their own, you know, playing their originals and stuff. There was another band, Argus, who played metal, but they were a bar band, and we started giving them new wave British bands, and they started playing Angel Witch and, you know, some of those bands. So we were inspired. So when we started Nasty Savage, we had a bunch of originals, but we started playing that bar thing where you play 4 sets. And I'm
Right.
like, hell with that. I said, we're going to be a show band. And we just started putting these shows on in cow pastures. The first show of Nasty Savage was in a guy's back side yard in a neighborhood of suburbia here in Tampa Bay and Brandon. And we went out that day in Fred's van, the bass player, and we stole a bunch of plywood from a job site. We made a big stage, and we had this event, and people were coming. They'd never seen anything like this. This is a rock and roll band
Yeah.
or a metal band in a neighborhood. So all these kids came out. And I was smashing TVs at the beginning. I rode a Harley through the crowd,
Yep.
got on stage, so we had the spectacle. People were talking about it. And then, of course, about 4 songs in, the cops come, the sheriff's department. So I said, all right, just hang on. Right when they get in front of the stage, we're going to play Breaking the Law.
Yeah.
So right when the cops got there, breaking the law, and all of a sudden the crowd was like, these dudes are anti everything. We
Yeah.
love this shit.
Yeah.
And, then the cops left. And as soon as they went down the street, we started again. They came back and totally shut us down. But to know they had a band that wasn't afraid and creating mayhem, that's
Yeah.
what lit the fire for the heavy metal movement of Tampa Bay was Nasty Savage.
Yeah.
And a lot of those kids that were watching us and inspired by us show after show, it just kept growing and growing. Everybody was talking about it. We weren't following anybody. We were blazing our own trail.
Yeah.
By just smart marketing and putting flyers out and guerrilla marketing and creating mayhem, and it grew. So those bands that were out there, those kids became Obituary, they became Deicide, it became
Right.
Morbid Angel, Death. Chuck was right there, came from Orlando one day, was thrashing his head from Death on the front of the stage. Next thing you know, they started a band called Mantis, and we let them open up with Death at the eve of New Year's Evil, and it just started there, and then they lit it on fire. Those guys took it. Those were the second wave of metal coming out of Tampa Bay. But we recorded at Morris Sound Recording, had a great production, and all of a sudden, Creator, Destruction, Agent Steel, Sepultura, all these bands were coming from all over the world to record at Morris Sound Recording. So we lit that fire, man, and we just ran with the ball, and we didn't know any better. We were just young and dumb, just doing what we do. And I said, we don't have time to fuck around, man. Let's fucking go.
Do you think bands right now, in this day and age, man, because you're talking about like doing the whole guerrilla marketing thing, do you think bands have it easier now because they do have access to the internet?
Definitely. And they could use that to their advantage because they could create their own movement. They could magnify, sensationalize, but you still have to have that element of real marketing and getting in front of people and sort of like a politician. You got to create votes, you got to kiss babies, you got to shake hands, and you got to be real to the people, because the metal people are very passionate and they're very smart, and they spend their money to see you. They spend their money to buy your merchandise. You have to persuade them to do that by having a great product, but by working hard and showing them that you will bleed for them or whatever.
Right.
They just want to support something that's real, and you better be real to your fan base, and you better get out there. These bands today, some of them will never get out of Tampa. They'll never get out of the brass mug, but that's what I'm looking for is the next wave of bands too. Who are they? But for us, we were doing radio interviews on KPFT from Houston, Texas. And then all of a sudden I kept doing these interviews. They got the demo tape, and then they said, hey, we set up 3 shows for you: San Antonio, Houston, and Austin. And we went and left Tampa Bay and went to Texas on a demo tape and crushed it, man. We blew those people away because it was pure mayhem. I was hanging out with Jason from Watchtower back in the day, Mike from Mike Solis from different bands that are still around today.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing what we created just going to Texas, and we ended up getting signed right after that from Metal Blade Records.
Are you a guy, because you've used your voice as your instrument in the band, are you a guy that's ever ascribed to any type of, like, you see a lot of singers have like a vocal care routine, or are you just a guy that can just get up there and belt it the fuck out?
Well, back in the day, man, I could hit those high notes and and do what we did, and the falsettos, and the people go, oh, it sounds like King Diamond.
Yeah.
But the key to that, man, is having a good sound man,
Yes.
and we had some great sound men. And when I hit those notes, they'd hit a little bit of delay and it would just carry it on and make it so powerful. You still got to do it all. But, now I'm more mid range. We go to these festivals now and without a sound man, and we talk to some guy that's running sound for 20 bands. He goes, okay, I got you. Yeah, yeah. And then we get on stage and it's dry as a bone. I need some reverb at least.
Yeah.
And it's just really frustrating. So I just had to be smart on what I do so I don't look bad about what I do. And some singers are different. They can do it anyway, but sometimes you just can't. So you got to be smart with what you do. But in those days, I listen to those live tapes now. I go, God dang, that was badass.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
But you got to deal with you got to deal with reality, Rex, and that's what it's about. Is
Yep.
enjoying the moment that you have now, celebrating with people because you can't take it back. You can only search stronger and stronger. I'm still trying to search for that ultimate relationship, storytelling, sit down with the crowd when they're at a Nasty Savage show and send them home going, damn it, I got images burned in my brain. I felt some emotion. It was high and low. I almost cried. I laughed and I thrashed my ass off and I got a black eye, man. It was killer.
Yeah. And it's great that you think along those lines because, given the fact that the music industry has changed so much, and I don't need to tell you that, but, obviously, getting out there and playing and getting in front of people now has become more imperative than ever with people not really buying the physical product as much. You really got to get out there and sell your merch. And as you say, you really got to get out there and put it on, for the people. So the fact that you have that much forethought, into sending the fans home, with a memory and really a show that resonates with them really speaks volumes, I think.
Well, in the old days, you had Johnny Cash, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Elvis Presley would do these little tours around the South, and each one would get on the same stage that night. And Little Richard would get off the stage and look at Jerry Lee and say, "Top that." And Jerry Lee would get up there and burn his piano down, man. That's my mentality. When you have the stage, take it, own it, and give all you have and leave it there. And when you come off the stage, go back to reality or whatever. But that's your chance, man, and that's what it's about is giving your all. And for us, it's hard. We never had the greatest management. We really aren't doing a lot of touring now because we're older and it's harder. It's very expensive. So we make the most of these shows, one-off shows that we've been doing. And like we just got booked to play in Bulgaria later in the year and then Zurich, Switzerland. We just played Alcatraz Fest in Belgium. There was 28,000 people there. And we were just one of the 30 bands, but we played on a Saturday night at 9 p.m.
Nice.
And the promoter was a big Savage fan from the old days. So it's really rewarding when you meet people after the show and you give them the moments and time and say, this is my son, now he listens to the Wage of Mayhem demo that you did. And you sent it to me as a pen pal, Ron, back in the 80s. And I have it right here, So to me, we used to try to meet the bands in Tampa and Lakeland when Iron Maiden or Priest and all those Kiss, they'd play over Ozzy, and we'd stay by the hotel and just wait for them to show up before the show or after the show. And if they took a moment for us to sign our stuff, we so appreciated that. And I said, those dudes are cool as hell. And I said, if I'm ever in a band, I'm going to make someone's day every time I can because we're all real people and the fans are so important to us. And I'm sure the band's listening right now. You got to know how important your fans are, and you just give everything to them, and they'll create raving fans, man. That's what we have to do. You want people to take a bullet for you, man. I mean, you really don't want to piss anybody off because a bad thing will go a long way. Good things go not as far, but I just care what people say sometimes when we leave the room, hey, that was a good dude. He stopped on the side of the road and helped us fix a tire. And, those dudes were on their way somewhere. They stopped what they were doing.
Yeah. And I try to get on my little soapbox briefly at the end of my shows. I usually go on and give my little spiel, especially given the fact that I talk to a lot of rock, metal, and extreme metal musicians on here. And I try to encourage people too to, go to bands' websites, sign up for newsletters, get on mailing lists, go out and catch bands live. You know what I mean? Go cop some merch, man. It really goes a long way, man. You know what I mean? You guys are out grinding and hustling, man. And, sometimes people will claim to be a fan, but, how good of a fan are they really being, though? You know what I mean? Like, you really got to go out and support art. You do.
And I think they're most of our fans or heavy metal fans are well educated.
Yeah.
They have jobs. They're real people. It's like I publish a magazine, a biker magazine called Born to Ride.
Yep.
I've done that for 3 decades, and they got this condemnation about what bikers are, or what the young kids that ride sport bikes are hooligans on the highway and all this shit. But everybody's got a real life behind them, and you got to respect that. And if you know how to treat people properly, you know how to treat people properly. And if you don't, you probably shouldn't be doing something in the public eye.
Right.
And a lot of people will screw themselves. One thing about it, we always came back alive. We never really screwed up bad enough to not make it home or get arrested or, do stupid things, get kicked out of clubs or hotels. I mean, you have to respect life and you respect your business, and you have to be a business person. And those are the kind of bands that will survive.
Yeah. For fans that might want to know, man, the band has gone through like a couple periods, where you've had extended hiatuses. I mean, what was the impetus for those hiatuses? Pretty inactive with new music from 89 to 2004, and then from 2004 to 2024. And then you guys came back with Jeopardy Room, which was fucking amazing.
Yeah. And, one thing I did want to add to that last comment is, Rexx, what you're doing, what the media is doing, any kind of metal media out there that's helping support the bands and the music that they play is so important. And anybody listening to this right now, this is a platform where you can learn about bands. People listening right now might even not know Nasty Savage. You're giving me a platform,
right,
and I appreciate that. And that's how we work that guerrilla marketing in the 80s, is sending out hundreds of demo tapes, man, to not only media, fanzines all around the world. 4 months later, I'd get an envelope back, and we'd be on the cover of these magazines, or all the radio shows that were out there, and college stations, and independent entrepreneurial people like you who have the passion and to promote. So it's so important, and we got to support the media guys who are busting their ass, sometimes not making a dime off of, but just having something that they're passionate about is so important. But the hiatus of Nasty Savage, about 1990-ish, we were kind of done after the Penetration Point album, and we were pretty much done. And then a couple of years later, I got this call from this guy in Germany who said he wants us to play. I think it was like 2002. Said, "Hey man, we want Nasty Savage to play Bang Your Head." And I'm like, dude, Nasty Savage to play again? I called the guys, and they were like, everybody was in. So we started practicing and got ready to do the show. And there was this fan that had a record company, Crooked Records, Dave, and he said, "Hey, why don't you do a Nasty Savage album again?" And I go, "Well, why don't we do an EP and then an album?" So we did this EP called Wage of Mayhem, which had 2 songs plus the demo tape. We recorded that, and then we recorded a whole album, Psycho Psycho. And then that brought back to life. And at the time, David Austin, the original guitarist, was living in Tennessee. So we wrote all the music and then came together in the studio and produced it. So after that, it brought some life in there. And then Richard Bateman was the bass player. And then we kind of went on a hiatus again. And then we had some other opportunities to play. Ben was out of the band. We got another guitarist, Pete, and we started playing again with David Austin, Pete, and another drummer because Curtis was out. Then we got James Coker, and we just started doing shows. We went to South America a few times. We played Germany, Keep It True a couple of times. And so we just started bringing it back again. And then Dave, 3 years ago, so we came back from Mexico City, and Dave quit the band. He was just tired of being tired, and we're all still great friends. And so he thought it was the end of Nasty Savage. I'm like, dude, it's not the end, man. We already got another guitarist, got David Orman. Pete was the still guitarist. Jim was the drummer. We had Scotty Carino on bass. He played with Death. He bowed out. We got a new guy, Kyle, and we started doing a few shows. And then I talked to Frank from FHM Records, who's a big Nasty Savage fan. And he was here having breakfast because he rides a Harley and has a house in down South Florida, Port Charlotte. So he'll come up, he'll come to Florida, get his Harley, he'll ride up to Tampa, and I'll take him on these back roads, where I ride and stuff. So one day I said, just come over early, stay the night. Next morning I cooked this big breakfast. I said, Frank, we just need to do a Nasty Savage album, the new one.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, Ron. I said, I tell you what, if we get this album, the guys from Obituary will be in it, and they're going to sing Witches Sabbath with us. I'm going to get those guys. They're historic legends now. And he goes, okay, Ron, let's do this. So I ended up calling, I didn't even talk to the Obituary guys yet, but I had a feeling that they would do it. And they did. So they were on the album, and, and Frank did a good job, a smaller label, but pretty good in Europe. And we got a lot of great press, great reviews. And we were back, man. I had that 20 years after Psycho Psycho. I got to write again. I already had titles, but to be a creative writer, to tell stories of humanity, inhumanity, love, hate, death, birth, joy, sorrow, the everyday stuff that we dealt with. Because as you get older, you mature as a writer or as an artist. And the things I wanted to talk about were kind of things that I've related to over the years. And then the music just drove it all home for me. And I was really happy with the music the guys came up with, and I kind of inspired them, but they took care of business. I got to give it all to the guys who wrote the last album.
Yeah. And so when you put Jeopardy Room together, what is the creative process like when you have these musicians together? Because you are, founding member, do you take the lion's share? Or do you take the reins and bring in the lion's share of the creativity, or do you open that door for the other guys to contribute as well?
Well, how it usually worked with Nasty Savage in the past is we were going to do an album. They would write this music and then give me the music, and then I would kind of put some titles. I had a bunch of titles, and when I heard a certain song, I really wasn't involved in the songwriting much at all in the past. And I'd just get the music, what they gave me, and then I would say, okay, this title goes perfectly with that. This one goes with that. This time, I sat with the guys. I said, look, man, don't worry about trying to be Nasty Savage. I want you guys to take it to another level. I want you to use your passion, your creativity to make it heavier, faster, more powerful, like the $6 Million Man thing,
Yeah,
I said, whatever you feel, do it. But I do want it heavier. I just want it, don't worry about sounding just like Nasty Savage. And a lot of them come from a death metal background. So then I would say, Pete, I've got a title for you, and it's Schizoid Platform. So I would drive it in their head. I want something like, and we talk about it. And then I just let them run with the ball. And then Dave, I said, Dave, I got this one. I've always wanted to write a song about the Aztecs and the ripping the hearts out of people, and, the Mayan culture that just went away. Why did it go away? So I came up with this title, Aztec Elegance. So Dave, I said, I want this eerie intro, slow, where I could sing slow to. And I just did that with song after song, and these guys would deliver it for me. And I'm like, dude, that's fucking killer. And then I'd say, okay, what I need now is you to do it on a camera, like on Messenger. And I want you to say, sing, stop.
Yeah.
Sing. So they'd kind of draw it out for me. It made my job a lot easier because they're the musicians. They're putting it, here's what you sing. I said, I don't want to have to sing a Bible or long shit. I just want boom, 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 in and out. And these guys delivered it. And I'm really proud of a record 20 years later that had such great reviews, but it also was powerful. And I had to go back, man. I had to find the Van de Kar who used to paint our old album covers and shit. I'm sitting in the studio. I go, well, damn, what are we doing for the cover? We don't want to do some bullshit AI that everybody else is doing.
Right.
So I get, damn, I better contact Van de Kar somehow. He's been dead for 30 years. This other kid answered the phone. He goes, well, I'm his grandson. He goes, I remember you, Ron. We got your album here, Abstract Reality. I go, well, hell, do you have anything? He said, come on over. And he had a couple of canvases left, man. I was able to, it was like right along the indulgence side. And it was just so cool. We had to go back then to Morrisound. Now people go, oh yeah, they recorded at Morrisound. They got the Vandekar artwork again. And then I got the original bass player, Fred Dregeshin, to write the intro called Invocations. And we took a piece out of a song he wrote and did that. So we had three elements to bring back from the past. And it kind of helped with media and journalists who were there in the beginning in the 80s. And it registered easier. It was a kind of a marketing thing, but at first I was thinking, oh, some AI bullshit, and it just looked like shit. And I'm like, dude, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So that's what the concepts. I owe it to the band who wrote the music, and I wrote the lyrics, and I gave all the titles, but together it was a really good process. We went in the studio, had a small budget. I think we recorded it all in 7 sessions. I did my vocals all in a day and a half. All those guys did their parts, and then it was me after 20 years. I go, I'm just driving that day. I'm going to the studio to cut vocals. I go, I can't believe this shit. It's like, oh my God, I woke up this morning and now I'm going to the studio. What did I do for my voice? Nothing. I just, so I had anxiety, man. I'm like, damn, am I going to deliver like everybody else?
Right.
And working with Jim Morris at Morrisound, he just pushed us right through, and such an amazing engineer to work with. And I knew if we worked with Jim Morris, he would get us through it, and we were in great hands, and everything would sound fucking perfect, as far as good as it could get as the time we were working with. So it was a nice journey.
And when you did Jeopardy Room in 2024, now here we are, modern era, where we are, the way people are consuming music, listening to music. We're in the streaming age now. When this album comes out, because now people can go on freely on YouTube and on social media platforms and give their opinions. Are you a big guy for looking at feedback and criticism? Like 2024, when Jeopardy Room comes out, will you go on and peruse and see what people are saying?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
What I did, I called up all my old school connections from 40 years back. People like Monty Connor, who's a famous DJ of metal, and all these different guys from the Doom Society, and people who are hardcore Savage fans that might have been saying, hey, this ain't Nasty Savage. This is something bullshit.
Right.
So I had to, as I was in the studio getting some of the, I'd record shit on my phone. So then I would get in touch with the guys. Hey man, I want to send you some. Let me know what you think of this new Savage. And I started getting these really positive reviews. And most people would say, man, it sounds just like Nasty Savage. It really doesn't, but it does in a way. And the tandem and all of it. So I was getting really positive feedback before I was doing my vocals even. Just on the song stuff without the vocals, and they were digging it. So that helped me have a better attitude. I mean, I was going to do my thing anyway, but I saw the green light go thing, and the people were digging it and they were looking forward to it. So yeah, I was looking at, I hired a promotion firm here in America, and they had one in Europe, and man, I'm telling you, it was just, the body of work that Nasty Savage created in the underground with the promotion, the marketing, and the sensationalism, then back it up with the show, we impacted a lot of people in our day. So, this was a big crossroads for me, because here I am, the only guy holding the flag, and I got 4 other dudes with me. But we said, you know what? We're Nasty Savage, and this is what we have. Yeah. And we just put it all out there. And I think whenever you're doing life, when you put it all out there and you have faith and you use all your passion and you just take care of business, everything's going to work out, man, and if not, everybody's got an opinion. So that's fine too. Not everybody loves it, but it doesn't matter. As long as you love it, you do what you want to do.
Right. Well said. And now explain to me a little bit, and explain to the audience a little bit, the email that you sent me in regards to Cranked Up Records and being part of the metal division.
Yeah, it's something I've approached Metal Blade. I approached Dan Johnson, who created Savatage and worked with Death and so many other bands, a local hero here who's a record producer. And I said, man, we were the first wave. The second wave was Obituary, Deicide, Morbid, all the death but what's the third wave in Tampa Bay or even Florida? Where's the third wave? Who are they? So I said, I want to leave a legacy, but I'm also smart enough to know how hard it is to do what we did
Right.
and how successful a lot of these other bands went after us 10 times more successful than we ever did, but we inspired them. So it was cool. But I'm still wondering, how are these bands going to get out of Tampa, get off the brass mug stage and go to Texas or go out and put gas in the tank and have faith, bring their guitars and their amps or whatever it takes, rent a trailer, get out there, man, put the
Right.
gas in there, you
Yep.
know, eat a pot pie, whatever it takes to get there and show who you are. So I'm like, a friend of mine has Cranked Up Records out in New Mexico, out by Area 51. They do big events out there. He's got a studio there. He's got a national talk show, radio. He created a record company. Then they have a studio in LA with the dudes. There's an engineer there who's got awards for working with Guns N' Roses and all kinds of people. So he's got some good connections. And I've been following him. He's been following me. I said, look what Savage is doing. Here's a crazy picture of me doing this or that. He's going, damn, Ron, you're fucking crazy, man. But you're kind of legendary. I said, well, you know, your body of work speaks who you are, and then let the people decide. So I said, you know what, dude? I said, I should just head up a metal division for you, man. And told him what I wanted to do. And he said, dude, that would be awesome. And that's where we're at right now. So what I'm doing is I've networked with about 5 or 6 other influencers and podcast guys and platforms that do metal here, including Death Metal Day. We just put on the Metal Museum here in Tampa Bay, which was legendary.
Yep.
And I'm counting on these guys to help bring in the next wave, but I want them to be a part of it because I'm smart enough to say, I can't do this on my own. I need to bring in my own army to do this. So it's
Right.
going to be fucking successful.
Right.
Because there's a lot of great talent here, and that third wave is here, and they're already giving me these packages of metal EPKs or whatever you call them.
Yep.
What is it?
Like
Yeah,
a
so
press
it's
kit,
like
yeah.
a whole
Yeah.
press kit digitally,
Yep.
and they're helping me, man. It's gonna make my job easier. Now all I got to do is I want to put together a compilation, sort of like Metal Massacre. Then I want to get a product. Then I want to put them all on a stage and have like a battle of the bands between the bands we already picked.
Sure.
Not to pick a band because I'm going to pick who I want to pick, but then I'm going to put them to work. I want to see what they do. I want to see who can sell the most compilation albums, who can get the most followers. Then they will get their own record deal. Then I want to put them on the road. I want to be like Colonel Parker was to Elvis. I really want to put some people together to get out there and make that next wave viable. To people go, damn, look what this guy did. Because I want to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, this one cool thing I could do is get 4 extreme black dudes, African Americans, and call it black metal. You know,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
be totally extreme. You know,
That's
just
marketing. That's marketing right
yeah.
there.
You know, you got to create this shit and put it
Yeah.
together. I want to get 4 hot chicks that are just brutally extreme, you know, that are beautiful and marketable, you know, and then the rest will all fall into place. But there's so much talent here that they don't know what to do with themselves. There's no guidance, you know, and I've been down these roads. I'm a marketing guy. I produced a TV show, Born to Ride Television for 20 years. I produced 1,340 TV episodes of Born to Ride. And then I created the magazine. I'm like 350 issues of Born to Ride. I do that every month. So I'm a producer. I'm a promoter. I co-produced 200 episodes of the IWF wrestling in the 90s. That's where I got my background to do the TV show by working with a guy named Eddie Mansfield at Universal Studios, where I brought Nasty Ronnie, the character, into the pro wrestling thing. So that's what I say. My stage show is a mix between pro wrestling meets Jim Morrison meets Slayer, you know, and throw Alice Cooper in there.
Yeah,
And,
which is kind of cool because I kind of relate because on my channel I do the rock metal show here, but I also do a boxing podcast. So I kind of swim in both ends of the pool too, as far as like the combat sports and the metal.
Yeah, and you talk about your boxing combat sports guys, just they're unreal athletes.
Yes,
and they're just hardcore psychos that are
Yeah,
pretty regimented. And, it's an art. People think
it
boxing
is.
it's an art to it. And to you to have that knowledge and split both is amazing. And, I got to hand it to you for the passion that you have for what you've done. I've seen some of your platform and the people you've interviewed, and you've got a body of work, man. And
I
it's an
appreciate you
honor for
saying
me to
that.
be here today
Thank
with
you.
you, and I
Thank you.
appreciate that, man. That's
Thank
why I'll always have the time to people who hustle and work hard and looking for another personality to put on their platform, because
Likewise.
I'll damn sure be it.
Well, likewise. So obviously people are acutely aware, and you just mentioned a lot of the names, that Florida has always been a hotbed for metal, especially extreme metal. You've named off a bunch already. I mean, the Morbid Angels, the Deaths, the Obituaries, the Deicides. So what you are saying is that the metal scene is very much alive there in Florida, and these bands just need to be discovered or given the opportunity, but they are there though. So for people that might say, gee, Florida had a great death metal scene, but now these bands have kind of become elder statesmen, where's the next crop? But you are saying they are there.
Yeah, and it might not just be death metal, because I don't want every guy to sound like the Cookie Monster,
Right.
So
Right.
I want to really find talent, people who can hit those high notes but are creative and have the passion that I think is a winning combination to be that and part of the next wave. I mean, there's a lot to choose from. There's death fest all the time. There's metal fest. There's bands.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the guidance of anybody taking them under their wing or just directioning them into the proper place. And we have great platforms here, radio shows, there's webcasts, there's podcasts. I'm excited to work with these guys because I'm feeling the energy from the media guys who know this is needed. And now
Right.
they have an opportunity to highlight their talents by helping me do this.
Right.
And
Right.
it's exciting, man.
I've said that about my podcast all the time. And it goes with the boxing show and the metal show. As great as it is to have like legendary fighters on, as great as it is to have legendary artists on like yourself or many of the legends that I've got to have on, I get a bigger thrill out of giving a platform to somebody who's a young band doing their first podcast. I've had the opportunity to have that honor a few times where these young guys will tell me, hey, this is the first interview we've ever done. This is our first podcast. I've had young up and coming fighters who are going to be the future stars and the future champions of the future, doing their first interview and getting their, getting their interview chops up to par. You know what I mean? So it is exciting, and somebody has to give them that platform. So what would you like your involvement to be when you find this young talent? How far like are you willing to go? Like, are you looking to help bands write songs? Are you helping produce albums? What would you like your involvement to be?
Well, you find the talent and then you corral them up. You get them either signed to just the compilation album, and you kind of let the chips lie where they are, the cards lie where they fall, and you'll find the winners, you'll find the leaders, you'll find the dynamics, and you'll see who talent is. But really, not only by their songwriting, but their business practice, their family practice. Are they good people? Are they good people? Are they hard workers? Do they show up on time? Do they not waste anybody's time? And then, if all that works, and then we get them on stage and they kick ass and they start building a following, those are. I want to find the next band that gets signed and really puts their name, and I'm just there to push them along the way. I might get into the management thing and keep them all signed and all this, but if you love them, you'll set them free. And
Right.
it's really. I was young and dumb, man, and when I was 18, I'm looking for young guys that want to get on the road, like I said, put gas in the tank,
Yep.
and create that future for them. We missed out on a lot, we really did.
Yeah.
And I can't change the past, but if I can inspire and influence others with the ups and downs that I've shared, that's what it's about. I just want to help people's career and maybe leave a legacy that said, at a point in time, this guy did this, and it's part of the history again. But before that, he did this, and so it's I don't know. It's untapped. It's untapped talent, and there's so much really good talent here, but I don't really go to shows a lot, but
Yeah.
I'm already getting a lot of people that are very interested, and, it's an exciting time because for me, I could get into the management and getting the percentages and all this stuff and dealing with the record companies and working with Cranked Up Records has the backing. They have Virgin distribution. So I need to learn a lot more about what budgets I'll have to work with and things like that. But I'm looking for people who really want to make it happen. And it's so important for me because I've been there. I want to bring them a day when they go, okay, you're the bands. We're going to meet at this hotel. I rented the room, the conference room. We're going to talk old school marketing. We're going
Yeah.
to talk what you have to do to survive, not what someone's going to drop in your lap. We're going to talk about how you have to make flyers and hand them out and go to these shows, put them on the windshields of every freaking car there at the Judas Priest show or
Yep.
whatever show it is. I want you to go out there and create mailing lists. And, I really want them to learn how to even make flyers old school or
Yeah.
go
I
to
love that.
shows that,
Yeah.
just really how are you going to push your merchandise? Get out there and set up a booth, hawk your stuff. I'm going to show
Yeah,
them
so
how to
you think
do that.
so you think maybe those old school values have maybe gotten lost a little bit, given the fact that it is so easy now just to say, hey, we have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page, we have a website. If you want information, just go there and check. And maybe bands have gotten away from the old school marketing, as you're saying.
Exactly. I mean, everything, just what I do, even with Born to Ride and the biker community, I just don't rely on Facebook or the social media. I get out there and, you put cameras in people's faces, you put them in the magazine, and then you follow up, and
Yep.
that's how you get advertisers, sponsors, but that's how you gain followers and,
It's a
people
lost
who show
art.
up to your shows and get in your bike shows. It's so important to
Yep.
generate income, generate power, but create it with a good way. And yeah, the kids today, I mean, they don't know any better. So it's like when you graduate high school, or then you go to college, and then you graduate college, and they didn't set you up for really. They tell you you're going to make X amount of dollars. You go to try to get that job. You find out it really doesn't pay as much, and they have college they have to pay for. It's like you could graduate college and still not have enough common sense to keep a job.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I mean, I look at people with their passion. I wanted guys to work for me that would come in early and stay late, not come in late and go home early. I want
Right.
guys who would they'd say, dude, I've got your back, boss. Whatever you do, I'll be here for you. And I love your passion. I'm going to learn from you. I'd like them to say, hey, look what I came up with. I got an idea. How
Yeah.
many people say that? Hardly anybody.
Right.
They,
Right. Yeah.
a lot of these kids today, another thing, you could be the greatest musician, a badass Ingve style guitarist that's a virtuoso, but they can't get with four other guys and create a business plan and go out and do it. Or you got the one guy's a drunk, this guy's all he wants to do is pick up chicks. You got to be serious about anything you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to mold. The character of people is very important, in life. Of being a good person becomes a good businessman. And
Yeah.
or woman, but there's a market out there. If you fish in the right pond with the right bait, you will catch the right fish.
Yeah, and I've asked many young bands on here. I mean, how are they going about navigating the waters of today's music industry? You know what I mean? Like, you have to put eggs in certain baskets. And what would you tell a young band? Because a lot of these young bands don't know where to start. Obviously, certainly writing great songs and putting out, good material is essential. But there are other elements, as you say. You know what I mean? Like, what would you tell a young band right now coming to you and saying, Ronnie, how do we get this thing off the ground?
Well, I always say this: when the green flag drops, the bullshit stops.
Yep.
So the best thing you could do is get with the right guys in your band, get a plan, create some music, and then get in front of people. And once that's where the magic happens. It's when people are turned on to you and they dig what you're doing in the scene. Now, people used to tell me, "Oh, you guys need to sound like this band, or you need to sound like," and then 2 years later, that same guy didn't like those bands anymore. He had a different band. So the whole thing is, guys, do what's in your heart.
Yeah.
Do what you four guys want to do. The worst thing that could happen is 4 guys. They bust their ass. They get a record, and they might have done a demo tape, and they shop it around. They're doing great. A record company wants to sign them, and they go, you got 2 brothers in the band and the 2 other guys. You've been together. You're doing hard, but you got to get rid of your drummer, and then we'll sign you. And they all look at the drummer and go, dude, you're fucking out of here.
Yeah.
And what happens is they lost probably the greatest friend they ever had, that they had a plan. And then the record company gets rid of them after a year. What happened? They lost the best relationship. So,
right.
If you feel what you have is viable, you'll know it, but you got to get out of your hometown. Just pack a club and keep playing that club until you pack it. Pack it until there's a line out the door. You know what I used to do? I used to write letters to fanzines or magazines and say, dude, I just went to this show last night. It was a Nasty Savage concert. I couldn't get in because it was sold out. I snuck in the back door, and dude, this band was fucking badass, and they have to get signed. And here's some pictures, and my name is Sue Billings, and that shit would get printed.
Yeah.
So I'm saying there are no rules, bands and kids out there. You got to do what you have to do as long as it doesn't break the law or hurt anybody.
Yeah.
There is no limitations. I like to do things like Barnum and Bailey, like the greatest show on earth. Don't miss a beat there, but send the people home happy.
Yeah.
Just common sense. When you have the stage, take it. Just like break a leg, whatever. But when you have the stage, just show your passion and don't be afraid to be original. Don't be afraid. You don't have to follow anybody. Blaze your trail.
And it was nice that we got a confession. Now we know Nasty Ronnie was Sue Billings.
That's right. Can I testify? I was Sue Billings and many others too. But you know what? I had to do that because there were no rules.
Yeah.
And the shit got printed, and I'd say, damn, guys, look what just happened here. I wrote this. And now people are reading it and believing it.
Yeah.
So you can control your own propaganda, and it's good to have your own propaganda machine. Yeah. Because no one else will do it for you. Don't wait for someone to do it for you.
There's nothing wrong with stoking the fire a little bit, nothing wrong with it at all, I mean, and so tell me a little bit about, because I would be remiss if I had you on here and didn't ask for fans that want to know. Obviously, we know in 2024 you did Jeopardy Room. Will we see more new music from Nasty Savage?
Yeah, I mean, Cranked Up Records right now is really wants to do something. And there's another record company that's re-releasing the first album, and Indulgence and Abstract Reality from Metal Blade. And we still have the rights to Psycho Psycho and Wage of Mayhem. So they might pick that up. Talking to Frank from FHM Records about another album. So we are writing. I just want to figure out where we're going to go with it. But I definitely have all kinds of topics, titles, and, twisted storylines and reality to write about. I really enjoy. I'm a big inspiration from the Twilight Zone. Rod Serling, man.
Yeah.
When that dude speaks, listen, because he is so profound. With, it was the 1960s. There's 3 or 4 TV channels. He was on one of them talking about prejudice and things like that in life that were forbidden to talk about, but he snuck it in there.
Yeah.
And his messages are so strong to this day on life, inhumanities, humanities, up and down. I love the roller coaster of emotion stuff. And you got to do that in life is relate to people. And I'll stop in the show before the morgue and talk about, man, I'm telling you, if you're missing somebody, if you're not talking to your mom and you're not talking to your dad, if you're not talking to your brother, your sister for some stupid reason, I said, if you know somebody right now contemplating suicide, reach out to them and reach out, make that phone call, make the call.
Yeah.
I said, because the next place you might see them is in the morgue. And then we play the morgue.
Yeah.
And I come out with a skull mask, Day of the Dead, with flowers. And, it's like, it's so cool because I'm dropping the flowers on the TV really slow. And the band's go, dun, 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 dun. And I'm real slow, just dropping flowers, real surreal. And people are going, what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And then I give a flower to a chick or something. And then they laugh, and then they're sad. And then, so it's a roller coaster of emotion. And when I do that, I know I have them, at least their attention.
Right. Right.
And it's great to hear the feedback afterwards, but I'm still trying to home all that in. But I have guys after the show and girls will go, you know what? I'm going to call my mom tomorrow. What you said really resonated in my heart,
Yeah.
and when you feel that, you kind of, we have a duty, man. I didn't realize this, but if you got a microphone, you do have a kind of an opportunity to put some positive vibes out there. Never political, nothing religious, just fun and inspirational stuff,
Yeah,
and
I love
things
hearing
like
you say
that.
that. I love hearing you say that, and I love hearing the fact that you like to keep the politics and the religion out of it because that is kind of divisive. It can divide people.
Terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, they have enough of that. They come to a show to be entertained, and
right.
that's what I said. I said, you know what? I said, let's enjoy this night together in the
You get it.
celebration
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we
yeah,
can never take it back.
yeah,
And when you set that tone, now they're going, yeah, let's be free tonight.
yeah,
And then we give them shit to burn in their images to burn in their brain, and the music. They get a show.
yeah.
Then the people who follow us, good luck,
Right.
but it makes everybody work harder, and that's what rock and roll's always been about. Like I said about Elvis, Johnny Cash, and those guys, it's like it's just music. It's really is, and we're just playing instruments, but we have a scene and a niche market, a metal. Luckily for us, we have history, and people say, God dang, man, you guys, you're legends and stuff. I said, dude, we're only as good as we're gonna do tonight and tomorrow. The
Right.
past is the past.
Right.
And if people are having a bad day out there or think their life is shit, the rear view mirror is small. Look out that windshield, brother, because that's where we're heading.
Yeah, amen. Amen. Well said. And so what's your own individual creative process like? I know we talked about the band, but when you're going to write and deal with all these topics that you deal with, what is your own individual process like? Like, do you, are you somebody that gets, sparks of creativity throughout the day in your writing or humming stuff into your phone or jotting down? Or do you treat it like a job and say, I'm going to sit down right now at this table and I'm going to do some writing?
Well, that's a good question because everybody does it differently, and
Yeah.
and I'm pretty differently all the time about it. But I'm always searching. Like I was in an antique mall one day, and I'm looking at these because I have booths in antique malls. I'm in like 5 different antique malls because
Yeah.
I'm a picker and a collector, and I'd go to flea markets and garage sales, and I acquired a ton of stuff. But anyway, I was in one of my antique malls, and I see these old movie posters, and it was a Rudy Valentino movie called Sainted Devil.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I love that title. And
Yeah.
that's on our album. Sainted Devil is on Jeopardy Room.
Yep.
So there's no one place where you can get it from, but you got to find, because I'm always searching for books, and I do a lot of sales of books and comic books, and like Brainwasher, the song on Jeopardy Room, I got from a Spider-Man comic book.
Yeah.
Brainwasher is one of the evil dudes.
Yeah.
And so there's no limitations to where you can find inspiration in life. But when I'm writing my music, I'm digging deep for cool words and different style and stuff. It's always been like that, from indulgence to abstract reality, locked in an image with animal grace, construct a universe within the skull,
Yep.
eyes clenched shut and primitive pulsations. The Lizard King slithers down Sunset Strip.
Yes.
That's abstract reality stuff. And
Yeah.
so I'm always searching for words that rhyme and all kinds of stuff everywhere. I'll be in the bathroom reading the back of a damn spray can or something. It doesn't matter. If you got a book, look at it. You'll find something in there.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, yeah. And
It's
now,
like,
well, and let me ask, because you did mention early on in the interview that you are 64 years old. Obviously, this past year, we lost Ozzy, we lost Ace Frehley. We are seeing some of our heroes, unfortunately, passing away. I'm sure fans would like to know. You look and sound fantastic. You've been at this grinding, doing this for a long time. How is your own personal health?
oh, my wife's over there laughing. I might need a hip surgery. My hip has been bugging the hell out of me, and I haven't gone to the doctor about it.
Listen, I'm 53 years old. I work as a nurse. As a nurse, that's my day job. I work as a nurse, man. But I have days where I'm 53 and feel like I'm 83. You know what I mean? Just I live in upstate New York. It's cold. Things ache and hurt a little bit more around this time of year. You know what I mean? I have my good and bad days or whatever, man. But
it's something to really be serious about, and I probably need to get a little more serious. Probably overweight for sure. I'm a big guy, but I got a big heart. So Yeah, but that gets old too, being big, airplane seats, all that shit, just some people have genetics are the same they were in high school. I was
Yeah,
180 pounds one time when I
me too.
started Nasty Savage, and I wore not even a 1X shirt. I wore large shirts, so now everything's expanded. And, health is important. And I've seen a lot of people leave us. And one time we played Keep It True. We were right there with Ronnie James Dio, Lemmy. I saw so many people that are gone.
Yeah,
And that's why we have to remember their body of work and what they left us behind. And that's why I'm concerned what I'm going to leave behind is this legacy of positive vibes, but smart marketing, ferocious, fierce, exotic stage shows, and just being a good person to people. And kindness, believe it or not, goes a long way to make the world a better place.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's important. If we have a platform, man, do positive things, and don't forget where you come from. And family's important, and respect family and
Sure.
everything that goes with it, man. When you're in Rome, do what the Romans do. If they invite you, we're in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and this one kid kept going, Nessie Ronnie, tomorrow you come to my house. He was a road crew dude, little dude. He goes, tomorrow you come to my house. And his name was Humberto. I'm like, all right. I said, let me tell you. He goes, I'll have a car come for you at the hotel. You come to my home. I said, all right. So we get a car. Everybody gets in the car. We're going up the mountain up by Sugarloaf where they do the hang gliding by the Christ Redeemer. We're going up this freaking mountain through the jungles and over the mountains. And I go, dude, I don't know where the hell we're going, bro, but we're going to Umberto's house. We get to the top of the mountain, and there's a dude with a rifle over his shoulder, and he goes, looks in there, he goes, Umberto. He opens this big ass iron gate, and it's a palace on the top of the mountain. His mom was some countess, and his dad was some dignitary. And we walked in there. They had a 30-foot table full of food with gold silverware. It
Wow.
was an unbelievable banquet, and that's what I mean. It's when you're with people in their country, just respect them and go with the flow, and usually everything will work out. These are people who love you the most, man, and
Yeah,
it's a joy to be in a band because what you created, you're getting respect from others, and they appreciate you, and you're making their day. Make their day, and
yeah,
we had a fabulous time.
yeah. Now, out of the body of work from Nasty Savage, if a fan were to ask you, either or, the best starting point or what you think is the creative high point of Nasty Savage, is there an album that you would point at and say, here we are at our fucking best?
Hell yeah, man. That's a great question, Rex. It's the next one.
Good
'Cause
answer.
I mean, my life is a blank canvas every day. And like I said, everything we've done in the past is great, but there's always things you would have changed or made better,
Sure.
or you work so hard with your passion to create it. And it's just before I went in the studio, I was just writing and writing and writing every day and working with the music. I was on a timeline. I had to produce and had to produce and had to deliver. And man, you look back at that, the old days. I wouldn't even go in the studio while they were doing the guitar tracks. I left it up to the guys. If we were auditioning people, I would leave it up to the guys because they had the jam with them. And I would say, if you guys like this guy, it's fine. And I found out that when we did the Abstract Reality album, or before that, Glenn Benton tried out, the dude from Deicide, and I just
Yeah.
saw him the other day at the flea market.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, man, I'm pissed off at you. It was a long time ago. And he came up to me. I go, how come? He goes, because I tried out for Nasty Savage, and I didn't make it. So it's like, damn, Glenn, I didn't know that. I said, it would have changed the course of heavy metal history. You might not have burned that cross in your forehead.
Right.
It was like, he was just laughing and shit. But that's why I think that once it's done, you can't go around and say, oh, we're the greatest because we did this or that. And you can. It's like being a football star, a baseball pitcher, whatever. Those days are gone, man. You
Right.
got to worry about tomorrow. And I
Right.
think my deal is that blank canvas to create, to have the opportunity. God, thank you for giving us this opportunity to create again, to bring it together, to sit
Yeah.
down and have that powwow thing,
Yep.
and use your creative juices and mind to go out and make something happen. So I really got to say, I love. It's like your children; you love them all.
Sure.
And David Allen Coe told me this. I interviewed David Allen Coe, and I go, "Which is your favorite song?" He goes, "Well, you love them all, like your children, but you can't pick one." And I'm like,
Right.
"Yeah, David, that sounds about
That's
right."
true.
And that's kind of I've always kept that analogy about that because it's like people say you need to write a book. I'm like, dude, I'm not done yet. Who knows if we'll ever do it, but. I was going to write a book about the collecting I do. It was going to be called "I Made $1 Million Off Other People's Junk,"
Yeah.
but I haven't done that yet either. I thought the IRS might go, "Well, who is this guy that made $1 million off other people's junk?"
Yeah.
But it's a great question, and I think my best answer. They say, "Where was your favorite place to play?" And we played all over the world, in Poland, behind the Iron Curtain in '88, to 20,000 fans, and one thing about that show is we played with a Polish band, Wolf Spider,
Yep.
and back then it was behind the Iron Curtain, so they were very oppressed, and they had no money. They'd get these stamps for gas and food, and when the stamps were gone, they couldn't eat. They had to figure something out. So when we were done with the 3 shows in Poland, I said, call them guys and they were fans of Nasty Savage. I said, call them in the dressing room. And they came in and go, yeah. I said, dude, this is for you. We gave them all the Polish money. It was a big pile. And we pushed it over and said, this is for you. And they were like, what? I go, we want you to have this, man. It's our gift to you. And I still think that was one of the greatest things we ever did. And I just got goosebumps talking about it because I remember that moment to this day, the look on their faces, and
Yep.
And so stuff like that you remember, like we did 60 shows in 65 days in 92 with DRI. And it was those dudes are still doing that shit. They're still doing those two.
I've had Kurt on the podcast a couple times. Love him.
Saw that. I saw you had Kurt.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest guys. And Spike, Spike was just because we were on their label, Rotten Records at the time, and they just took care of us on that tour. And so those are the fun times. 60 shows in 65 days, LA, Chicago, Detroit, all across Canada. World War III festival when we played with Destruction, Possessed, Voivod, and Celtic Frost. And Nasty Savage came from Florida in a tour bus that we had, this old Greyhound. That was amazing. It was. So there's been a lot of high points, and every time we play, though, you just got to cherish every moment when you're able to talk to fans who really love you and have your records and know very educated fans. So I'm looking forward to the next. We have 3 shows booked right now. We're playing a Tampa Death Fest, and then we're playing Bulgaria, which you never played there, and then we're playing in Zurich, Switzerland. Who knows? I might have to hang it up after that. You never know, man.
I know. That's a hell of a way to go out. And now, so before I let you out of here, man, if people want to tap in, because as I said earlier, everyone is on social media somewhere. If people want to find out what's going on with Nasty Ronnie, what's going on with Nasty Savage, where's the best place to check you guys out?
Well, my Instagram is Ron Galletti, Galletti. Nasty Savage. I encourage people to join the Nasty Savage Metal Nights. It's a Facebook group.
Okay.
So once you get accepted there, it's easy. We just approve it. All you got to do is ask to be a part of it. Okay. And then you can start posting stuff there, and it's for really like-minded Nasty Savage fans.
Okay.
And it's really cool because I'll meet people and I'll tell them to sign up, and they'll go sign up, and then I said, post your photos, give us some old stories. That's probably the best. NastySavage.com.
Okay.
And there's also Nasty Savage Wage of Mayhem Facebook page.
Okay. Great. Okay. So there's lots of ways tabs of what you boys are doing.
Yeah, and any promoters out there, you can get in touch with us there too. But I appreciate the platform you're giving me today, and your hard work. And I've watched your body of work, what you do, and you deliver, brother. And you're a professional. And I so appreciate all the time you've given me today.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I appreciate you saying that. And as an independent podcaster, I look back on the body of work and I'm blown away because I'm a fan at the end of the day too. I don't do this for any kind of profit. I just do it just to enjoy these conversations with people whose work has inspired me over the years. Music I've been a fan of. I don't just pick people's names out of a hat. Everybody that's been on there is somebody that, has impacted me in some way. The album's meant something to me. The songs meant something to me. I've seen them in concert. There's some story attached with all the guests. So, but still, whenever anybody's face pops up on here, I'm still a kid at the end of the day. I'm blown away. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. It's crazy to look back and think that I've done 300 plus episodes of the boxing one and closing in on 400 episodes of the music one. It's crazy.
That's an amazing body of work, and I'm sure you are proud, but you should be proud. And the only thing we can do with our body of work is keep grinding and and it's like the surfer looking for that ultimate wave,
right?
Or the painter looking for the ultimate painting. It's me when I used to produce my TV show. I would never say it was the best show because the next one's got to be better.
Right.
You know, to grind out a great interview, to get someone to talk and elaborate, you know, the skills that you have to do that, you're skilled at that. And it'll only make you better, stronger, and make the competition go, damn, how can I be like him?
Right.
You know, how can I be like Rexx?
It's just like we were talking about the other day too. You know what I mean? Technology, it is great. And of course, I want to stand behind it because it affords people to be able to watch my podcast. So I don't want people to not be tapped into technology. But sometimes people are tapped in a little bit too much, and the art of conversation gets lost a little bit in this day and age, where people can actually just communicate, look each other in the eyes, and talk. You know what I mean? So you know, I just try to achieve that. Just, you know, have people be able to tune in and just watch a good conversation between, you know, a couple old metalheads like us. You know what I mean? But people are into it though. They really are. I've watched this channel grow. And it's just crazy because I started it with a laptop and a webcam. I mean, nowadays it's kind of a running joke. Anybody can really start a podcast nowadays. You know what I mean? If it gets traction and catches on, is a different story, man. But 2025 was a crazy year, though. The viewers and the subscribers it really just blew up. So it is resonating with people. And then Blabbermouth and Metal Injection and some of these other websites start picking up my interviews. And, you know, obviously that helps drive traffic to the website too. You know what I mean? Drives, you know, if Blabbermouth, you know, picks up on my interview with the drummer for Cannibal Corpse or Kirk from Crowbar or whatever, it helps, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to be skilled at what you do is so important because everybody's got choices, you know.
Yes,
everybody's got choices. There's hundreds of choices. You know, consumers, it's a free enterprise. And the grind, you know, let somebody catch up to you that just started. They got a long way to go.
Right.
So you're a leader and people look up to you for what you do. And it's important to give everybody the time if they have questions or if you can help people along the way. I'm sure you have.
I have.
To inspire others, you know. It's not easy, people. It's not like magic. You just turn this thing on. There's a lot of preparation, research.
No, I tell people all the time, I have questions, I got notes, I got bullet points, I do my research on all the guests.
No, dude, you're very smooth at what you do, and I could tell you're skilled at what you do, and that's a pleasure for me to work with that. But even if it's a guy for his first podcast, I'll try to help him along the way too, and because they're giving me some time, you know, they're giving me that platform, and if I could just inspire one guy to work a little harder or to be a better person or, you know, to respect somebody a little more and understand how hard we all work for what we do every day. Our time is valuable. And it's just amazing the power of people, you know, the power of the people is what I love. And to get people going in the right direction, it's an amazing journey, man. Life isn't, it's very short. So we got to make the most of it.
We do. Well, listen, you've been generous with your time, man. I really appreciate it, man. It's been a blast chopping it up with you, man. Stay in touch. You always got a platform here, my friend. Anytime you got anything going, man, we'll jump on here and do it again. Anytime, man.
Awesome. And you know, go ahead and send that link over to me and I'll put it up on the, you know,
No doubt.
Nasty Savage and whatever I can do for you. And as this thing with Cranked Up Records grows, I'd really like to have your input and feedback too. So what we could do with this. So I really appreciate it.
Anytime. You got my number. Reach out anytime, man. If there's any young bands, anybody needs a platform, anything, man. I love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not only Florida. So after I do this one, we're looking for across the whole country. And, there's got to be some good stuff out there, and I'm looking forward to it, man. But thanks for everything.
My
Keep up the great work.
My pleasure. Good talking to you, my friend. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Yes, later.
Later.
There he goes, folks. Amazing conversation with a bona fide true legend of the metal scene, of the thrash metal scene, the death metal scene, the Florida metal scene, just the fucking scene. That is Nasty Ronnie Galletti of Nasty Savage, a band who no doubt has influenced so many of his peers in that Florida metal scene. I know the fellas in Obituary have copped to that. The guys in Death, Deicide. Really, really, really an influential band. May not have the discography and the palette of work, but the work that is there is fucking phenomenal, man. The most recent of albums by Nasty Savage, if you are wondering, is 2024's Jeopardy Room, where the boys came back in a big fucking way after not having any new music for quite a while. And so that would be the most recent thing for you to sink your teeth into. But of course, the seminal, legendary work that is already there, absolutely fucking incredible. So I would urge you to do your homework and check out Metal Legends Nasty Savage. And that is the one and only Nasty Ronnie Galletti, the man who spearheaded it all and continues to inspire and have his hands in so much stuff creatively. His Born to Ride project, now getting involved with Cranked Up Records, the metal division, and trying to find new talent, as he said, not just in Florida, but, you know, anywhere and everywhere. So, you know, obviously Ronnie is just one of those guys that just wants to see, you know, creativity encouraged and fostered, and just has a great outlook and a great attitude. 64 years old, been doing this a fucking while, man, and still boundless energy, amazing enthusiasm. That's what all artists should aspire to be and should aspire to carry themselves like. So big salute to Nasty Ronnie Galletti. What a pleasure having him on. From the legendary Nasty Savage. Now let me give you the obligatory promotional spiel one more time. I kind of rushed through it because Nasty Ronnie was ready to join the conversation. You can tap in with Pod Scum on Facebook at Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. That's our handle. Same handle on Instagram, Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. And of course, if you're watching us here right now on our YouTube channel, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you can stay tapped in and be in the loop when new content drops. We bring you something new every single week. Before I leave, I want to thank the viewers. I want to thank the subscribers. At the end of the day, of course, the guests. I could not do this as much as a pleasure as it is to look at me and feast your eyes on all of this. I know why you really tune in. It's for these incredible conversations with these amazingly talented artists. So I want to thank them. And specifically today, I want to thank Nasty Ronnie Galletti for being here. It really means the world. Great conversation. I look forward to having him on again. And again, folks, tap in with us on Facebook, tap in with us on Instagram. And if you want to watch and listen to the entire conversation, because I do promote on Instagram with Reels, do promote on Facebook by, you know, advertising the episodes, when they're going to drop, who's going to be on them. I also throw lots of other fun stuff up there. If it's related to the boxing world or the music world, it's newsworthy and noteworthy. I like to put it up there. Lots of fun stuff. But if you really want the entire meat and potatoes, as I say, this is where you need to be. Get with us on the YouTube channel, and please like and subscribe. We appreciate the support, man. I got to thank everybody that's been supportive of the channel. Like I told Ronnie, it has really been growing leaps and bounds. It's been absolutely amazing, awe-inspiring. It just really touches me right here as an independent podcaster, man. I'm blown away by the support. So keep it coming, folks. I love it, man. Got lots of great stuff in store, lots of tricks up my sleeve, running down lots of great content for you guys, man. So continue to stay tapped in with us. And until we get together and we do this thing again, this is your boy Reckless Rex reminding you to take it easy and keep it sleazy.